So episode 1 of Steel Ball Run has finally dropped, and us JoJo fans are hyped. Everyone has something to say about the first episode, me included. So I made this video going over my initial thoughts on part 7. I actually started reading the manga 4 weeks before the episode came out, so I would have the drop on all the other creatures. The heck? Instead of writing creators, I wrote creatures, but let's be honest, that's a better description for them anyways. So I read chapters 1 through 12, which was covered in the 47-minute long episode. But for those who are not in the know, let me quickly explain what Steel Ball Run is. JoJo fans, don't click off, please. Stop, I'm doing something. Hey, don't cry, little JoJo fan. Look, it's Johnny with a big butt. You guys love him. Look at him. So, Steel Ball Run is the long-awaited 7th installment of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the anime series, not the manga. The manga's been out longer than I have been alive. I mean, that's crazy. The part takes place in 1890 and is about a grandiose race all across America, promoted by one man-child, that of Steven Steele. So racers far and wide gather at the shores of San Diego Beach to take place in this celebration of the pioneer spirit. Our part's protagonists, yes there's 2 this time around, are Jairo Zappelli, a talented racer who has talented balls, and Johnny Joestar, a former famous jockey who was shot in the back for skipping the line at Applebee's. Johnny's goal is to learn how to walk again, and after touching Jairo's ball sack, he found himself standing up again. Temporarily though. So he decides to join the race in order to find out the abilities of the balls and its user. Alright, now back to the race, I'm sorry. I'm going to first go over my non-spoiler thought on the series so far, for those who are not convinced yet. But if I do sway you over, go and watch it first, I would recommend it. Then come back to this video. I mean, it's on Netflix, or you can just wait till someone uploads it on YouTube Shorts in like 124 parts and watch it that way. The art's just beautiful. Araki never fails to impress me with art. The manga is in its like late part 6 style at the beginning, and then I hear that it goes off into the beautiful part 7 art. The story is just, you know, mwah, chef's kiss. I hate to drain Araki's white snake here, but I really like this story. Now don't hate me for this, but I do think that the part gives off very early One Piece vibes. With this great big race, all these different yet interesting characters, themes of ambition, and the grand prize money that every racer wants to get. Also, my brother, Unfunny, also said that this part gives off Wacky Races vibes. You know, that one Hanna-Barbera show about one big race that's split up into different stages with many different racers and different modes of transport, and I can't unsee it now. I'm not saying anything here. Or Rocky may have copied someone else's homework. That's all for the non-spoiler segment, so after this point, there's going to be spoilers to episode 1. So if I did sell you on it, you can go ahead and watch it and then come back to this video. Hey, fun fact, you can actually like this video and find it again in your liked video playlist. That's cool. Listen, man, I need this. I already sold my kidney to pay back my debt. Please. They said if I don't pay in full, they'll take the second one. Please. Please just... I don't know if it's a recency bias or the hype around this part or the gay cowboys. Is this spin? This part is shaping up to be one of my favorites. I feel like it's too soon to say that, so... I think the reason behind this is that Araki does a really good job at 2 things in this part. That being the setting and the characters, which I'll cover the first one, starting with the set.
Peter, the horse is here.
So Araki does a really good job at setting the table here. Especially with this excerpt that basically explains the whole premise of the part. With the rise of technology, the ability of crossing the country being more streamlined, and the most important part is the growing idea of competition where anyone's able to compete and there's a big prize pool for the winner. This segment is a genius way to get us 1, immersed, and 2, to understand what the race is about and what inspired it. Speaking of the race, Araki does a really good job at fleshing out the detailed rules in a simple and readable manner. Hey, Gege, take notes. With the rules being you have to pay $1,200 to enter the race, You can't swap horses nor riders. The laws of the land apply, so no straight up murder to win. But guns and weapons are allowed to be used because this is America, baby. America. And if there were any more rules in the future, they were always there from the beginning. I'm not the crazy one. You're the crazy one, not me. I feel like Rocky draws this period pretty well. Everything looks pretty accurate, like we stepped into the 1890s. Besides the tiny horses that appear once and never again. I might sound crazy if they get cut from the anime, but I love how everything feels. This definitely is my favorite part setting so far. It could be that I was raised off old Western cowboy shows. You know the ones, the Roy Rogers Show, The Lone Ranger, Gunsmoke. I think that's enough about the setting anyways. So let's talk about my favorite aspect of Steel Ball Run, the carrot. Carrot. Rocky has always been, say it with me now, the GOAT at making characters. I mean, he made Panna Cotta Fugo. I was actually thinking about making some videos about said characters. So, if they're out, go watch them next. If they're not, subscribe. I feel like in these 47 minutes alone, I have fallen in love with most of these characters already. Everyone serves a purpose in this race and a place in my heart. They all have valid reasons to win this race, which actually is kind of hard for me to cheer one person on. I feel like all of them should probably win. I hope at the end of Steel Ball Run they all grab each other's hands and like, no, together, and then they walk across the line. What the? So let's just start with
motherfucker, run! Freeze! Raider! I think it's Raider! He's right behind me, Raider! Raider, please stop! Raider, you're running a little too fast! Oh my god, Raider! He's right behind me! Oh my god, Raider!
Also, these are in no particular order. I love all my babies equally. Like I said in the past, I've always been a sucker for characters that use pure strength over magic or power system. So I love characters that kind of stray off the path. I know that he probably has a stand. No, let's be honest, he definitely has a stand. But I feel like what sets him apart is not his stand or the power. This man's running a marathon for fun. My feet fans are gonna love this. Sandman is an indigenous American that wants to win the Steel Ball Run to get money to pay for his tribe's land. He wants to beat all the other racers with his self-imposed disadvantage of only running on foot, and I just find that so inspiring. I mean, the funniest part about this is that he gets second place, beating mostly everyone on horse. And he gets that yummy dinner for it, too. Truly the GOAT. Also, I believe that his name could be a Metallica reference to Enter Sandman. Take my stand. I don't know what it does. We're off to go by my land. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not him and B. I don't know every reference. I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but when Steel Ball Run was being produced, we actually got confirmation that Sandman's backstory would not be in the first episode. Instead, it would be moved to another episode in order to get the race started more on track. I do want to talk about his backstory because it's the main reason why I got into this character. So if you want to avoid minor spoilers to Steel Ball Run and Sandman's backstory, skip to this time code. When we first see Sandman is the very first page of the manga. Actually, that's not true. We see his tribe first. Then we see Sandman. And he's running for his life because he's about to get scalped by his tribe. Because he's been reading these foreigner books. You know, the people that are basically coming in and killing them to take their land. Yeah. But Sandman doesn't read these books out of appreciation. In fact, he hates these people as much as his tribe does. But he reads them in order to understand the enemy. And I feel like that makes him a character more with layers and more philosophical character. To understand the enemy is to win against them. We get all of this in 22 pages of content, by the way. So we know that he's not just racing for himself, but he's racing for his tribe. Even though they were trying to kill him for this. And I feel like overall, he's a pretty good character that I like. Sucks that his introduction to this episode was kind of cut. Because you know what they say, introductions are everything. And talking about introductions, we're going to talk about a character that has a good introduction. He's a mozzarella. He's a mozzarella. Like I said at the beginning of the video, Gyro is one of two protagonists in this story. So much so that Johnny doesn't even appear in the first chapter. I'm pretty sure the store clerk has more screen time than Johnny. Gyro is one of those characters that can go from being a total badass to flipping over to a goofball. Like, he literally chooses a teddy bear over basic hygiene. It puts it in a weird, like, Walking Dead situation. Like, these characters stink. He has a really cool introduction where he sees this guy steal his money from him. So Gyro's 20 bucks short from entering the race. So Gyro and this guy have a good old-fashioned showdown. I like how Gyro keeps a calm demeanor, and he gives this guy ample times to just walk away with his life. And yet he chooses to die all for 20 bucks. Reading this brought me back to the time where I would watch those old westerns. They would have the showdown. Our protagonist would keep a cool head against the opponent, who would give them many chances to turn to the right path. Yet the opponent chooses the path of crime, and our protagonist puts a bullet in them, ending their lives then and there. From what I've read so far, Gyro to me represents justice, and this scene is a really good example of this. But Gyro isn't kind. He isn't morally good. He sabotages other racers. He does other stuff that makes him come off as a bit selfish and cruel. It could just be that Gyro is shrouded in mystery. We don't know his true motives, nor do we know where he's from. I mean, okay, he's definitely from Italy. Like, come on, look at him. And we don't know why he wants to win the Steel Ball Run so badly. I can't wait to see more of Gyro in the future and his dynamic with Johnny and how that would grow. Overall, top tier character.
Well, of course you won with those cards. Even Steve could have won with those cards. And all he can say is, hey-o. Shut the f*** up, Steve.
Okay, I want to talk about Pocoloco. Pocoloco is a favorite of mine. Pocoloco is this dude from Georgia, just like me, who joined the Steel Ball Run in order to win the big cash prize. Pocoloco, when we first see him, has no care in the world. He'd rather count clouds instead of doing his job, just like me. And he's like this after he talks to a woman, just like me. Wait, never mind, I'm afraid of women. And she is a fortune teller, and she tells Pocoloco that he is at the peak of his luck, that he is 1 in 50 million men. And Pocoloco, because of this, or maybe he was always like this, has this childlike demeanor and optimism to him, making him really enjoyable to watch. And his stand, hey yeah, I like him. He's kind of just like this supportive guy. I have no idea if he has an ability or not. I think what Pocoloco is trying to show how luck and fate work in tangent to each other. And this could be either from his stand's ability or just fate working, or something with like luck and positioning, similar to Dragon's Dream. But since we have no idea what Heiya's ability is, we'll just chop it down to luck. Skill! I mean, when everyone was well through the first half of the first stage, Pocoloco slept in and had a way late start. But instead of giving up while he's so far behind, he chooses to push through like a champ and gains a lot of speed over the trampled ground. And he catches up, and he gets to be one of the top people at the end of the race. Also, side note, Pocoloco's number is 777 to show how lucky he is. I thought that was a good detail.
Well, I guess we all learned that South Park is more than just a town. It's a community that nobody can split up.
Dude, who the hell are you?
So in Steel Ball Run, they have these top racers called the Champion Racers. These champion racers are well known around the world for being either professional cowboys or jockeys, or being known for the great expeditions that they have made in their lives. These champion racers were a really cool idea to point out other opponents in the race and information about them in a realistic way without just saying, hey, this is Diego, he jockey. We know nothing about Mountain Tim in this first episode besides that he's a certified cowboy who's participating in the race. But still, I wanted to bring him up since I read a little bit past the episode, and he might play a big factor. I don't know, guys. So, Yi Mai Ha.
Mohammed Abdul! No.
So, how do I pronounce that? Ermad? Umad? Ermdead? Whatever, I'm going to just refer to him as Abdals. So Abdal over here is another unique racer because he doesn't ride on horseback. Instead, he chooses to ride on camelback. Side note, I didn't even know that camels could run fast, so I looked up camels running and I found this. So that's interesting. I like the inclusion of Abdal in this new continuity. I I felt like Avdol was a character in the old continuity that needed to be expanded upon. So I'm glad that he can shine in this part, and he's gone. Man, Avdol can't catch a break no matter what continuity he's in. May you rest in peace, Avdol and your camel. They're not dead, but they're probably just not going to have any relevance anymore.
This horse's habit is specific indeed. 5, 6, 7, and here we go.
No. I wonder if the anime will adapt the scene of Johnny looking at Diego's butt. Diego Brando, also called Dio for whatever reason, is a popular British jockey. He's known all throughout Britain as a top-tier racer, and he came to America to race in the Steel Ball Run. He's actually pretty similar to Johnny because they were both jockeys from a young age. I think because of that, Diego kind of feels like a what if of Johnny. Like, what if Johnny wasn't shot in the back? I wonder if that's going to get expanded upon later or dropped. I like how Diego just knows all about those horses. He's like one of those horse girls. Diego can read every horse like a book, knowing a horse's quirks in a matter of seconds. There's only one way to counter this, which is basically throwing him into last place because of bridge shenanigans. But he still catches up in third place at the end of the race. I don't have a lot to say about Diego. I know that he's a fan favorite of this part, but in this first stage, he doesn't really do much. I hope to see more of Diego, especially since he is a fan favorite. I hope he can grow on me. And so now we get to the main JoJo of this part, Johnny Joestar. Johnny has always been a character that intrigued me. I have no idea why, but I really like his design. It just speaks to me, you know? He was, when I started JoJo's, the very first manga original character that wasn't animated officially. So it feels so good catching up. That's kind of weird now since he is animated now. Johnny Joestar is an interesting protagonist. But even before I got into JoJo's, I always heard that Johnny wasn't a good person at the beginning of Steel Ball Run. And I found that interesting because up to part 6, every JoJo has been morally good, I would say. So it would be a bit of fresh air for a more gray take on a Joestar. But to be honest, from what I've read, Johnny isn't that bad. I mean, yeah, I get it. He is a jerk, but I feel like it's not really his choice. It's just how he grew up. He grew up in a very isolated childhood of only fame and fortune. From a young age, Johnny was literally placed onto a high horse, and he was given whatever he wanted, and being surrounded by that for most of his developing years, he kind of grew this mindset from the backstory. Even in the scene where Johnny is shot, Johnny doesn't instinctively act like a jerk. He's more told to do that. Granted, kicking the guy out was his idea, but he didn't see anything wrong with it at the time, because from this point, he has never been punished. Well, that's about to change right now, because Johnny is shot in the lower back and left to bleed on the street. Now, I don't like comparing the old continuity with the new continuity because, frankly, I view them as separate stories. Just one has callbacks to the other. But I like how Johnny Joestar and Jonathan resemble each other. Both coming from a wealthy family, yet they take their wealth for granted. But this wasn't really expanded upon in Phantom Blood because my brother is a vampire.
Done! How could you say that about me? Whatever! You're going through puberty! It's normal!
But it was in Steel Ball Run. And I believe it was handled very well, with this giving Johnny that reality check that changed the course of his life forever. Johnny is left in the hospital alone, by himself, scared, and since his ability to ride the horse is removed, everyone else has abandoned him. And for 2 years, Johnny has probably been by himself. Now, I've said that Gyro represents justice, but I also believe that Johnny represents something else in this story, and that is perseverance. And within the spinning balls, within this beach, Johnny sees a light of hope, and he chooses to chase it, no matter what. No matter how many times he gets trampled, mocked, or even laughed at, no matter what, he still perseveres. He won't quit until he learns how to walk again, not just physically, but mentally. Oh my goodness, just a really good character. I could really talk about Johnny for hours. Alright, that's all the characters I wanted to talk about, but I actually want to cover the anime, like my thoughts on it. Sorry, I'm not really good at segues. Okay, the show. I watched it like really early in the morning, so a lot of stuff was added and removed, but I feel like it was for the better. Sandman's backstory wasn't completely cut like I thought, and Johnny's backstory actually got extended to include his brother, at which where I'm at in the manga right now, his brother is not mentioned at all, so it took me off guard, but I assume that it happens later in the manga. The music was beautiful, all the themes they were just so good. But there was no intro nor there was an outro song, so I can say what I want the outro to be. I hope the song that they use for the outro is Walk by Foo Fighters. If you haven't heard it, I would recommend to go listen to it. I know it came out in 2011, so it's not 2004 when Araki was working on the series, what usually sets the outro theme. But come on, it's a really good song and it would fit perfectly. The animation was good, I loved it. I believe that all the content that they cut was fine. Like, it was just smaller scenes to get a little bit of each character. But I kind of liked how it is in the manga. It's kind of like a slower build-up. But I do see how that would be really hard to fit all that content into 47 minutes of runtime. So I think what they did was perfectly fine, and it was nothing too big that was lost. Something that actually shocked me, though, was the removal of stands. There's not a single stand in this first episode, which I don't know if I like or not, because, you know, it's a staple in JoJo's, but it kind of gives that part 1-y feel, or part 1-y and part 2 feel where they're like non-existent. In the first stage of the race, stands don't really play that much importance besides helping Poco Loco. It's kind of weird seeing this strange version of the first stage without any stands. And also, sorry to all my anime onlys. I didn't mean to spoil you guys, but I had no idea that they would cut all the stands out from the first episode. And overall, it was a really good episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I can't wait till the second episode. Alright, so I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen later within the part. Obviously, Johnny and Gyro are going to team up. I believe that Johnny's going to help Gyro win the race, and Gyro's going to teach Johnny the secret of spin. I feel like the downtime between races are going to keep the races interesting and further the plot. I feel like we're going to get an explanation of why and how stands appear. And I don't believe in this continuity they're going to do the stand arrow things. I feel like it's going to be through another way. Now, who do I think is going to win the Steel Ball Run entirely? I want Sandman to win the race. We first meet him and he has like a noble reason for actually wanting to win the race that we hear of. But we all know who's going to win the race. Poco Loco!
Let's see it purple.